I think we might have different versions because mine is Android. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when you and Gannon are out running around to these places and you know, getting your gas and your coffee and Petco a couple times, and does he go into the stores with you?
No,
or?
But I parked, and I know you're going to see this, so I'm going to say that I parked on the front, and like I don't know if you'll probably, if you see the Petco cameras, I'm in the, can I show you?
Sure.
I'm in the store a lot of times walking back to the front door doing this. And my point of doing that is because I was making sure that I didn't see him, like, you know, if he needed something or like getting out or whatever. And he stays in the car, like, I'll listen to stay in the car all the time with, like, if like Lena's in the car, he'll be like, it's okay, stay here, buddy, we'll be right back. Didn't think anything of it because he had his Switch with him and he was playing his Switch.
Did he know what store you were in?
Yeah, Petco.
So like if he needed you or whatever else.
Right, but and I did keep walking to the door several times, and I'm pretty sure I did it on the second visit too, walking back to the door just to make sure. You know, like if he was like, oh, you know, like I need you or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, you can see that on there. So do you need to know like what I did in there, or you just?
So you're just in there shopping, and then
it wasn't even a long shop. Like it wasn't.
And then you come back out, and then where do you go?
So I know we were right in that area, like different places, but I don't think I stopped anywhere else specific to get anything other than Starbucks. I made a wrong turn, and then the 2 times at Petco, and I was looking for Marshalls, but
after the second time at Petco, did you go anywhere?
I think after that Petco is when we started to head home.
Okay, so you go home,
and I want to give you like an accurate of that if I pull this up because I feel like right after Petco we went home. I don't want
to try and bring it up.
Yeah, I don't want you to think that I missed a stop or something. And I will tell you, on the way there, we did stop and get gas somewhere.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was on the way there or way home.
Do you remember what station?
But we did stop and get gas.
7-Eleven.
Here,
come and go.
If you gotta go.
I hate to do this. Yeah, I need to run out. I'm gonna come back. Okay. It shouldn't take me very long, hopefully. But please continue talking with Detective Houston, and then whenever I get done with that, I'm gonna come back in and we'll get back on again. Right?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull this up.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, here's what I see that seems, you know, so abnormal for any kind of situation like this. The dynamic range and the amount of the regulators and illustrators. Regulators, sometimes what I call moderators, are the things that, you know, tell other people, look, I'm in charge of this, I'm going to keep talking, or might go, no, like it's your turn, you give me. They're ways that we control, to an extent, conversation. So there's lots of those in there. She's trying to control it. Lots of illustrators, lots of ways that she's very dynamically, again, more extremely trying to show us the story, to the extent of, you know, jumping up and miming it out for us. So there, huge dynamic range, because they're going from sitting to standing to sitting again. And it doesn't elongate for a very long time. She doesn't keep it for a very long time. So what does that tell me? That tells me that underneath what might seem very controlled and to an extent, you know, I guess calm to an extent, bubbling underneath that is something quite extreme going on. There's some extremes in gesture, from going from what I would call grotesque playing, which is down below the belt line or protected in here, up into ecstatic very, very quickly and back down again. Now, that's a range that you only usually see in things like stand-up comedy or rock and roll or something like that, you know, big stage performances where you need to get that audience's attention and you need to hold that attention for a long, long time. You'll use this dynamic range to control the situation. So again, why does she need to control this situation rather than, you know, as I think Chase was saying, like there's, you know, as I'm understanding it now, there's a child missing right now. So why is the focus not there, or certainly controlling the conversation to drive towards, let's find, you know, a missing child, you know, if that's the story that's being asked about here. So, and one last thing on this. She's giving us a shopping list of events, event, another event. Again, seems incongruous with driving towards what the real crux of this story is. Why this shopping list of events? Eventually, as I recall it, we actually will get to her kind of advocating for her shopping list. But until we get there, Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I agree. And in this video, we're seeing somebody who thinks these details are relevant. She's already seen what happened, knows what happened, and somehow believes she needs to act out her behaviors to detectives hours and hours before this thing happened. So just think to yourself, what kind of person would think that these details are relevant and extremely relevant? And they would bring maybe papers in there, but they'd be photographs of the child, what he was wearing, some medication allergies, the medicines that he's on, birthmarks, those kinds of things. So this is all what we're seeing is permissive behavior. It's about giving the interrogator some kind of control, making them feel like they're in charge. It's kind of like saying, hey, I'm not a threat. I'm cooperating. It's a way of reducing some tension and conflict. It's also a way of avoiding confrontation. So they're hoping by being compliant, they're going to, get off easier. It's also a way of humanizing themselves or herself, just making it harder for the interrogator to see her as a suspect or a criminal. Like, I'm not a monster. And when she describes going back to check on him, it's funny she can't think of a reason to explain her actions. And when you watch this again, you're going to see it. She has trouble explaining why she returned to check the vehicle so many times when an innocent person would understand their motive clearly behind doing this. And she cannot say the word check on him. She's not saying that. She makes up random stuff there. So the layout of this interrogation room is pretty damn good. It's how I would advise some departments to do it in some situations, with one gigantic exception, and that's having a glass top table in the room. And I think that's a horrible idea for obvious reasons. Scott, what do you got?
All right. Before we go any further, Mark, I don't know why I thought this, because I've seen you stand up in there before. It always looks like you're standing up, even though you're sitting down. Why is that? I know you're sitting down. Why does it always look like you're standing up? I always think, I don't think out loud he's standing up, but it always looks like you're standing up. Is that on purpose?
No, you know what I think it is? I mean, yes, what I think it is the energy that I have. It makes you feel like I must be standing up. And I think it's that.
Status. Yeah.
Really?
And status.
Okay, sorry, man. I had to get that clear. But it never bugged me. But when you scooted back that time, I said he's sitting down.
Yeah.
But I know that because I've seen you get up and walk out of the room that time we made fun of you.
that one time you made fun of me?
Well, the one time you know about.
Right.
So, okay, let me get back to this. We see a classic move here from in the adapters category. She does Rodney Dangerfield. She actually does this on her shirt. She goes, oh, and does that to get some heat out of there because she's heating up and she's going along. Rarely do you see it. You see classic pictures of people going, I don't know, man. I don't. So they're with the actor or the fake person acting like they're lying, and they'll do that. But that was great. It happens fairly quickly. So get a look at that this next time around because it's good. Still so much head touching, so much face touching, so many adapters happening here. They're flying around everywhere. And then that left leg turns into a barrier to the detective on the right. I think she hits on some points that she sees as a danger subconsciously, because I don't think she consciously is doing that, but she wants to get away from her. So that leg goes out, completely sticks straight out from what she's doing. Greg brought this up yesterday. We were talking about the reflection we're seeing in there from the mirror that's above at what might be the door. I don't see anybody moving around in there, but I didn't the whole time see anybody moving around. But I think that's fairly interesting that and it's not that they're not thinking this is going to be used for YouTube. They're not thinking they're ever going to use this video for anything else, just to get that information. That's why the sound is always so horrible. And usually the video is just horrendous. But most of the time the sound is worse, as in this case. But I think I would have somebody, maybe that detective steps out because she's got to go say, you guys got to come up here and watch this. But nobody came up to the room to watch. So she's checking on something. She's gone out of the room to go take a look at something, check on something she just said to make sure everything is good with that. That's my understanding, because why in the world would you leave that room? No reason to, but you do that all the time. But quite often you do that and nobody's in, and you let them sit there and think about what just happened. You leave them with a question that isn't answered. Then you say, listen, I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and you leave for like 10 minutes. Let them think about it. You can watch it, and you go back and watch them on the monitor. You can watch them squirm and think about what you said. It's that thing we talk about, like that mind virus. You put a little thing in there, and it just grows and squirms around in there. And I think you're right, Mark. I think we're seeing a form of panic in there. She's getting all kinds of worked up, and she's trying to control it. And those personality types like she has, those will go up and down. The more excited she gets, the more she's going to move around. And the more she's thinking, man, she might be thinking, I've got this. This is great. I'm going to get away with it, but I'm protecting myself as I go along. I think she gets so excited she can hardly stand it. Take it from somebody who gets all worked up sometimes, and she gets worked up, I think, fairly easily. So I think that's a form of panic. And every second is accounted for with her. Every second is accounted. We did this. I took this many steps to this. It's almost like that. Everything is accounted for. She should have literally just a minute amount of memory for those things, because her whole being and brain should be focused on, where is this, my child or my stepchild or whatever, where is this kid at? Where is this child? We don't see that at all. Still no grief, still no sadness, still no, oh my God, what do you need from me? None of that. Just telling what happened. Second by second, minute by minute. That is, I've never seen it to this degree before. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, a couple of things. I got a whole lot of pieces here. I'll try to keep this as short as I can. But number one, there's something she's trying to get out. Is the reason she's being so friendly, and is the reason she's doing it. She's already put out one piece of information. There was a Hispanic guy that I went to, and I gave him this code. Boom, there's one. Now she's got to tell you why she was doing something in front of a camera, because she brings up the fact there are cameras, and you're going to see me going back and forth to check my car. She knows where the parts of her story that are going to come apart are, and she's trying to give you reasons why it's okay. That's why she's ramped up, is she's trying to make sure that you buy into whatever it is she's doing. Look at that romancer, that locked eye contact. She's doing her best to ensure that they're falling for whatever she's saying. The other thing is, as she walks through this, she has put, let me talk again about liar's loop. In liar's loop, we say you've got a trigger. In this case, the child's death would be a trigger, or disappearance. Then you've got to fabricate. So she is probably smart enough that she's fabricate, unless this is premeditated and she's planned this out for a long time, which is even worse. Either way is a bad thing. And she's going to fill in any plot gaps that she can. She's going to think through the process. And so she's going to come up with, why would I walk back and forth and check my car? Because that's going to make me look suspicious. The fact that you bring it up makes you look damn suspicious instead of just suspicious, because now you got an embedded confession going on. Once you get to that fabricate, you have to deconflict that with the rest of your story. So why would I have been at the Petco running back and forth? Don't know, but she's got a reason to cover it. And if you don't believe she's fabricated and deconflicted her story, preparing to pitch it and then have to defend it against you, she says these words: do you even need to know what I did in there? That's a source lead all day, every day. Of course I need to know. Even if you don't need to know, I would ask. She's prepped. When she says that, her legs thrust and she starts to adapt. That makes me go, something's up. Something's different. Mark, I think that leg thrust is a regulator. And I think it's her pushing people away as she does that. And then she goes into what I call the multimedia show. Look, I brought props. And then she gets up and starts to body illustrate and mime, to your point. What the hell? You don't see that. And guess what? No horror, not a mention of the kid's name other than to tell you when I was checking on him. And Chase, you started off right in the beginning with something I've said many times on the show and in my training, is the lie doesn't need a lie. sorry, the truth doesn't need support, but a lie loves a crutch. And those crutches are things like pictures and timelines and details about things that don't matter. Those things give me some kind of strength. If my kid were missing, I would have said, look, we went to Petco, took about an hour. We came back home and happened when we got home. This is what you need to talk to me about. We don't hear any of that. We don't hear any of that. And if I were in her shoes, I would have called a lawyer, but I think she's too smart for a lawyer. The last thing I'll cover, and I said I'd go along on this one, is she says, I will tell you. When you're emphatic, you usually have something to tell, not another place to hide time. That's all she's doing is hiding time. Don't trust her.
Sorry, dude.
The eyewitness is you.
I think we might have different versions because mine is Android. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when you and Gannon are out running around to these places and getting your gas and your coffee and Petco a couple times, and does he go into the stores with you?
No,
or?
But I parked, and I know you're going to see this, so I'm going to say that I parked on the front, and I don't know if you'll probably, if you see the Petco cameras, I'm in the, can I show you? Sure. I'm in the store a lot of times walking back to the front door doing this. And my point of doing that is because I was making sure that I didn't see him, if he needed something or getting out or whatever. And he stays in the car, I'll really stay in the car all the time with if Lena's in the car, he'll be like, it's okay, sit here, buddy, we'll be right back. Didn't think anything of it because he had his Switch with him and he was playing his Switch.
Did he know what store you were in?
Yeah, Petco.
So if he needed you or whatever else.
Right. But and I did keep walking to the door.
Sure.
So several times, and I'm pretty sure I did it on the second visit too, walking back to the door just to make sure. If he was
sure,
if I need you or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, you can see that on there. So do you need to know what I did in there, or
so you're just in there shopping, and then
it wasn't even a long shop.
Okay.
It wasn't.
And then you come back out, and then where do you go?
So I know we were right in that area, different places, but I don't think I stopped anywhere else specific to get anything other than Starbucks. I made a wrong turn, and then the 2 times at Petco, and I was looking for Marshalls, but
after the second time at Petco, did you go anywhere?
I think after that Petco is when we started to head home.
Okay, so you go home,
and I want to give you an accurate of that if I pull this up because I feel like right after Petco we went home. I don't want
to try and bring it up.
Yeah, I don't want you to think that I missed a stop or something. And I will tell you, on the way there, we did stop and get gas somewhere.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was on the way there or way home.
Do you remember what station?
But we did stop and get gas.
7-Eleven.
Here,
come and go.
If you gotta go.
I hate to do this. Yeah, I need to run out. I'm gonna come back. Okay. It shouldn't take me very long, hopefully. But please continue talking with Detective Houston, and then whenever I get done with that, I'm gonna come back in and we'll get back on again. Right?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull this up.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.
You know what?